You think your bank account is a money problem. It isn't, it is a biology problem. And nobody, not your financial advisor, not the self-help books, not the YouTube gurus selling courses from rented Lamborghinis, nobody is telling you this. Because the moment you understand what is actually happening inside your body every time you make a financial decision, every time you swipe that card, every time you stay in that job you hate, every time you self-sabotage the very opportunity you prayed for, everything changes. Your body has been running your finances this entire time, and your body is terrified. Let's go back to the beginning. Not your childhood, further back, much further. 30,000 years back, to the version of you that lived in a world where the threats were physical, immediate and lethal. A predator in the grass, a rival tribe at the border, a winter with not enough food. A version of you developed a nervous system that was a masterpiece of survival engineering. When danger appeared, the body launched a cascade of biological events so fast and so powerful that conscious thought couldn't keep up with it. Cortisol surged, adrenaline flooded the bloodstream. Blood rushed away from the prefrontal cortex, the rational, planning, future-focused part of the brain, and redirected toward the muscles, the heart, the eyes. The body made a decision before the mind could form a sentence: stop thinking, react, survive. That system saved the human species, and it is destroying your financial life, because your nervous system cannot tell the difference between a lion in the grass and a bill you can't pay. It cannot distinguish between a rival tribe and your overbearing boss. It cannot separate physical starvation from the psychological terror of watching your savings account hit zero. To your ancient, hardwired, magnificently loyal nervous system, financial stress is a predator, and it responds accordingly, every single time. Let's talk about cortisol, because this hormone is the invisible hand that has been moving the pieces on the board of your financial life without your permission. Cortisol is your primary stress hormone. Under normal circumstances, it rises in the morning to wake you up and falls through the day. It is part of a beautifully calibrated rhythm the body was designed to run on. But here is what happens when you live under chronic financial stress, the kind that never fully goes away, that is just always there, humming in the background of every waking moment. Cortisol stops following the rhythm. It stays elevated, day after day, week after week, month after month. And a body running on chronically elevated cortisol does something to your brain that should stop you cold. It shrinks the prefrontal cortex physically, measurably. The part of your brain responsible for long-term planning, impulse control, rational decision-making, and the ability to delay gratification. Cortisol reduces its activity, and over time reduces its actual size. Think about what that means for your finances. Part of your brain you need to budget, to invest, to resist the impulse purchase, to think 3 years ahead instead of 3 hours ahead. That part is being chemically suppressed by the very stress that your financial situation is creating. You are trying to solve a thinking problem with a brain that stress has made worse at thinking. That is not a personal failure. That is neuroscience. And while the prefrontal cortex goes quiet, something else gets louder: the amygdala, your brain's threat detection center. Your biological alarm system. Under chronic stress, the amygdala becomes hypersensitive. It starts firing at things that are not actual threats, interpreting neutral events as dangerous, reading opportunity as risk, scanning every new financial decision not for potential gain but for potential loss. This is called a scarcity mindset, and psychology researchers have studied it extensively. What they found should change the way you see yourself. When the mind is consumed by scarcity, by the psychological weight of not having enough, cognitive bandwidth drops dramatically. The same way a computer slows down when the memory is full, your mental processing power decreases under financial stress. Studies have shown that people in poverty perform significantly worse on cognitive tests, not because of intelligence, not because of character, but because the cognitive load of managing scarcity leaves fewer mental resources for everything else. You are not bad with money. Your brain has been running on emergency power for so long it has forgotten what full capacity feels like. Now let's talk about sleep. Because this is where the financial trap gets vicious and the cycle starts feeding itself. Financial stress destroys sleep. This is not an opinion. It is one of the most well-documented relationships in stress research. The cortisol that stays elevated at night suppresses melatonin. The mind that cannot stop running financial calculations at 2 in the morning cannot enter the deep sleep cycles where the brain actually repairs and restores itself. And a sleep-deprived brain is a financially dangerous brain. Here is what happens to decision-making on insufficient sleep, and these are not small effects. Sleep deprivation increases impulsivity dramatically. It weakens the same prefrontal cortex function that cortisol is already suppressing. It increases emotional reactivity so that small financial frustrations become catastrophized. It elevates the brain's reward-seeking behavior, meaning the urge to spend on something that provides immediate pleasure or relief becomes significantly harder to resist. The research is stark. Sleep-deprived people take more financial risks. They spend more impulsively. They are worse at assessing probability and consequence. They are more likely to make the short-term decision that feels good and more likely to neglect the long-term decision that is smart. So the cycle looks like this: financial stress creates poor sleep. Poor sleep creates worse financial decisions. Worse financial decisions create more financial stress. More financial stress creates worse sleep. And round it goes with no obvious exit, while you blame yourself for a trap that was built inside your own biology. Let's go further. Because there is a layer to this that goes even deeper than the brain, your gut. The gut-brain connection is one of the most revolutionary areas of neuroscience research right now. The gut produces approximately 90% of the body's serotonin, the neurotransmitter most associated with feelings of calm, stability, contentment, and well-being. The gut communicates directly with the brain through the vagus nerve, sending signals that profoundly influence mood, motivation, and cognitive function. And chronic financial stress devastates the gut. Stress alters the gut microbiome, the ecosystem of bacteria that regulate digestion, immunity, inflammation. And that's serotonin production. When the microbiome is disrupted by chronic stress, serotonin production drops. When serotonin drops, the baseline sense of okayness disappears. The world looks darker. Motivation flattens. The gap between where you are and where you want to be stops feeling like something to move toward and starts feeling like evidence of something wrong with you. And here is where the financial trap deepens in a way most people never see. Low serotonin makes the brain urgently seek alternatives. Dopamine hits, fast rewards. The brain under low serotonin is a brain in withdrawal, craving stimulation, craving pleasure, craving anything that temporarily fills the emptiness. And in the modern world, those dopamine hits are available 24 hours a day at a price, a purchase, a subscription, a delivery, a comfort buy that your logical mind knows you cannot afford, but your depleted neurochemistry treats as a survival need. You are not spending money because you have no discipline. You are spending money because your brain is desperately trying to self-medicate a biological deficit with the tools your environment has made available. I need to name something that lives in the body of everyone who has grown up in financial struggle. Something that does not show up in budget spreadsheets or financial literacy courses: chronic stress stored in the body. Trauma researchers, particularly the work surrounding the body's response to prolonged adversity, have documented something profound. The body keeps score. It does not just experience stress and release it. Under chronic, sustained stress, the kind that financial insecurity produces, the kind that watching your parents struggle produced in you before you were old enough to understand money at all, the nervous system learns a setting. It calibrates to threat. It develops a baseline of hypervigilance that does not fully switch off even when the external circumstances improve. And this is why people who finally get the raise, finally clear the debt, finally hit the savings goal, so often find themselves unable to enjoy it, unable to feel secure, unable to believe it will last, subconsciously creating new problems, new crises, new reasons to return to the familiar state of financial stress, not because they are self-destructive. Because the nervous system learned that stress is home, and the nervous system moves toward home. This is called a window of tolerance, and if yours was shaped in scarcity, your body will fight to keep you inside the financial range it learned to expect. Abundance outside that range does not feel like success. It feels like danger. It feels like waiting for the other shoe to drop. It feels like something that will be taken away. And so unconsciously, invisibly, the body engineers a return. You have to widen that window. You have to teach the nervous system a new baseline. And that is work that no financial course addresses, because it is not financial work. It is biological work. It is body work. So what do you actually do first? Understand that you are not the problem. The wiring is the problem, and wiring can be changed. Neuroplasticity, the brain's capacity to form new connections, new patterns, new defaults, does not stop at any age. The brain you have today is not the brain you are sentenced to forever. But change requires inputs the body can actually use to build something new. Regulate the nervous system before you try to fix the finances. This sounds counterintuitive. Do it anyway. Slow, deep, deliberate breathing, specifically exhale extended breathing, where the exhale is longer than the inhale, directly activates the parasympathetic nervous system and reduces cortisol. It is not a metaphor. It is a measurable physiological shift. You cannot think your way out of a nervous system in threat mode. You have to breathe your way out first. Protect sleep with the same seriousness you protect money, because sleep is money. A brain running on 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep makes categorically better financial decisions than a brain running on 5. The research on this is not subtle. Sleep is when the prefrontal cortex restores its function. Sleep is when cortisol resets. Sleep is the biological prerequisite for the rational financial mind you are trying to operate. Move your body every single day, not for aesthetics, for neurochemistry. Physical movement is the most effective natural regulator of cortisol available to you. It produces BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which literally grows new neurons and strengthens the prefrontal cortex. Exercise is not separate from financial success. For a brain in chronic stress, it is the foundation of it. Feed the gut. the serotonin factory, fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods, real whole food that the microbiome can use to produce the neurochemicals that make you feel stable, motivated, and capable of long-term thinking. The food you eat is directly building or dismantling the brain you make financial decisions with. This is not a wellness platitude. It is biochemistry, and then address the window. Seek out the practices and support that widen your tolerance for safety. Somatic therapy, EMDR, breathwork, whatever resource is available to you. Because until the nervous system believes it is safe to receive and hold abundance, the biology will keep finding ways to return to the familiar. Here is what I need you to carry out of this. You have been fighting the wrong battle. You have been beating yourself up over discipline and willpower and motivation and mindset, all while standing in a body that chronic stress had biochemically configured to keep you exactly where you are. You have been trying to build a financial future with tools that fear had quietly been dismantling from the inside. That ends today, not because the circumstances magically change, but because you now know what is actually happening, and you cannot unsee it. Brain that stress suppressed is still in there, still capable, still extraordinary, still carrying the vision of everything you have ever wanted for your life. The decisions you are capable of making in a regulated, rested, nourished body are not even in the same category as the decisions you've been making in survival mode. Your potential was never the problem. Your biology was running a program that was never designed for the world you are trying to build in. Rewrite the program. Start tonight. Sleep. Breathe. Move. Feed the machine that feeds the mind that builds the life. The trap was never about money. It was always about the body. And now,